Well, hello. Welcome to Google Sites. My name is Jane Hoover, and I'm a tech integrator in Brevard County Schools. And today we're going to get a little overview about how to create a Google site in the Brevard County district anyway. So to create a Google site, you log into Google the same way that you would to get into your Google Docs. But before we start to do that, we're just going to go through a little slideshow here. We're going to talk about what Sites is, the difference in the share and the learn domain, difference with teachers and students. We're going to actually create a new site. Then we'll learn how to get back to our site to edit it, and then how we share our site, making it visible to others. So again, in order to get to Google Sites, you first go to the Brevard County website, which we will do in a minute. And probably your best bet on this is to watch with me the handout that you have. If you're watching this video, you should have a copy of the handout. And follow along on the handout. I think you'll get the most out of it that way. And then when I say, okay, now go explore on your own, you'll have seen it done, and then you'll have the handout in front of you. I think that will work best for most people. So again, you'd go to Brevard County website and you'd click on the teacher portal and then Google Apps for Education, and then you would log into either the share or the learn domain. Now, if you're creating a website and you want people to see it outside of, let's say, the elementary schools, you'd want to create your site in the share domain. The learn domain is that little walled garden where no one else can see it. So if students are creating a site there, the only way for somebody like their parents to see it would be for them to log on to Google Sites and show their parents that way. And that's probably, the way we want it for students in elementary. But for teachers, if you want to create a classroom site or a site that you want others to see, create it in the share domain, and then you make it open to the world, and then even your students, anybody can get to it. They can't work on it, but they can at least visually see it. Okay. We're going to hold off on questions and answers to the end, so let's get started. Right now, I'm going to share my desktop with you so that I can get to where I need to be. Here we go, share. I'm going to share my desktop so that you can actually watch me log in and create a site. And again, I think your best bet is to just follow along on your handout. Okay, so now you should be seeing my desktop. So I'm going to open up I'm opening up Google. What am I talking about? Being that Sites is a Google product, it obviously does function better inside of Chrome, so I'm going to open up Chrome. Now we're going to go to the Brevard County School website, www.brevardschools.org, just like we would to get into Google Docs, and we're going to click on the teachers portal. If you were doing this with students, they could click on the student portal. And I'm going to click on Google Apps for Education. And for our purposes today, I am going to go into the share domain. Okay. Now, normally you come in and these are your Google Docs. But to get to Sites, if you look across here at the top, you see some words in the black bar. One of them is Sites. If you click on Sites, by the way, if you're doing this on a personal account for some reason, you don't see Sites. I think it's under More. But for our purposes, Sites is under Sites. So just like the handout shows you, right now it's step 5, I believe it is, there's a Create button here. Now you'll notice I have several sites. You may see nothing here if you've never created a site before. I'm going to click on Create. And I'm going to click on Blank Template. It's already selected, but it's a good idea to click on it. And I'm going to name my site. Now, keep in mind when you name your site, be careful of what you choose the name for, because this is going to be part of your web address. Now, I'm just going to call mine Florida Geography. And I'm going to call it Florida Geography 3 because I think I've done this a few times and it already exists. So if you notice down here, the site location, this is actually going to be the URL or the web address of my site. So again, you can always change the title of what your site says, but this name right here is going to be what is part of your URL. Now, if you're just giving it to somebody as a link or you're making a link to it from somewhere else, it doesn't really matter. But, kind of be conscious about naming your site. If you were doing this with students, you probably don't want to name the site their first name or something like that because there could be others like that. So if it was on Florida Geography, you might have them do it Florida Geography-Jane or something like that. Okay, now that's all we're going to do right here. And we're going to leave it at, oh, no, I take that back. One more thing. So we selected blank template. We've named our site. Now we're going to select a theme. Okay, and when we click on that, we get several themes down here. And there are other ways to create a site from templates, but it gets quite complicated. This is really the easiest way, and this is an intro course, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to pick something that I think, oh, Florida Geography, I like this sunset one. And of course, it could be anything. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to hit my Create button. So I've named it, I've picked the theme, and now I'm creating it. So when you click Create, it actually creates a site with one page, and your first page is called your home page, as you can see. Now, one of the first things I think we want to do is we want to talk about sharing your site before we start to work on it. So right up here is the Share button. Right now you can see that people at Brevard Schools can find and access the site. So they could search for it if they knew the name of it and find it. But you'll notice something else. By default, it says Brevard Public Schools people can find it and edit it. Now, in most cases, you don't want people editing your website. So that's something that you want to change right from the start. So I'm going to change that. And I'm going to say, first of all, I don't want anyone to be able to edit it. So I'm going to change edit to just view. Anyone in Brevard Schools can view, but I'm going to go a little bit further right here. Since this is in the share domain, I want this website to be visible from anywhere. I want my students to be able to get to it. I want my parents to be able to get to it. So I'm actually going to make it public on the web. Then when I send out a link, no one has to log in to see it. They can just click on the link and they're there. Now, if you were in the elementary school, in the Learn domain, you would not have that option. So you could just say, people in Brevard Schools can find it. But you do want to make sure you take off that edit, unless you want people to be editing the site. And then, of course, I'm going to click Save. Okay, so now we've got our site, and you can see that it's public on the web, and I'm the owner of it. Now, to get back to work on my site, right here where I have the title of my site, if I just click on that, you see it has a back arrow, it will take me back. So now I am on my home page again. If I want to edit my home page, I have a little pencil up here. So I would click on the pencil, and then I could type in something. So maybe this is my first page, I'm going to put just some facts. Capital, and then I would put the capital. Tallahassee. Then maybe I would put population. You get the idea, but I can continue to do what I want on this page. Now you will notice that it does not save automatically. Up here, there is a save button. Now, unlike Google Docs, which saves automatically, in Google Sites, you must remember to save it. So I am now going to talk about inserting a picture on the page. So typing was simple, but now you notice I have all my formatting tools, by the way, that you can use like you're used to. But I'm going to say insert, and I'm going to insert an image. Now, I've got some images that I have already saved. And again, if you're doing this with students, you probably want to have your images ready ahead of time. And I think in my picture folder, I have a folder, yes, I do, called Florida. And I'm just going to add this Florida map right here. So again, I did some prep work ahead of time, and I have my files ready. So in a minute, I should see my picture. There it is. I'm going to say OK. And here it is. Now, I've got some choices. I can center my picture. I can move it over to the right. I think we'll leave it center. As far as sizing, you have a small, a medium, a large, and then what the original was. And I think the original probably works. Also, this is wrapping if you want to wrap the picture around the text, but I'm going to just leave it like that for this point. So now I am going to save my page. Again, if I wanted to edit it, I would just click on the pencil and I could begin to edit it. You can also add pages to your site very easily. And there's a little piece of paper with a plus sign right here, New Page. If I click on New Page, it gives me a choice to create another blank page. I'm just going to call this one, Cultural Features. Cultural Features. Yeah, right. Features. Okay, and I'm going to leave it as a web page. I'm going to leave everything there that's already there, and I'm just going to say Create. Now you'll notice on the side here now, I have a home page. If I click on that, I'm on my home page, and I have a cultural features page. So 2 pages so far. Now, we've already shared our site, so we don't need to worry about share. But one of the other things that I do always like to talk about here at this point is there's something by default. Every time you add a page, it has this add files and this comments. If you add files here, it's kind of like attachments, and they take up space. And as a county, we're only allotted so much space for sites. So a better way for files would be to have them in your Google Docs and then just insert a link and have that link attached to the document in your Google Sites. That's a much more efficient way to do it. And as far as comments, in most cases, you don't want to have comments going back and forth on your website. So I recommend that these are 2 things that you take off. And in order to do that, you would click up here on More. And right here it says Page Settings. So if I click on Page Settings, I'm going to uncheck Allow Comments and Allow Attachments. And every time I create a page, I would have to do that. But it also makes your website look a little neater also. So again, to edit this page, I'd click on my pencil. I can type in some information about cultural features. I can click on Insert. I can go and get an image. Choose my file, and now of course my images, since I was here, are right here. Let's see, I think I'll just do this one. I think it has some cultural things on it. And again, it uploads it to Google, and then we're going to say okay, and there's my map. So I could center that on the page if I want. I could leave it off to the right. I could type in some information. Again, we would save. And again, if we wanted to add a 3rd page, we would click, and then notice down here, now we have our 2 pages. If we add a 3rd page, we would click on Page again. And maybe this one was going to be Physical Features. I can't type tonight. Physical features. Still don't have physical right, do I? Okay. Again, leave everything the way it is, and I'm going to say Create. So you'll notice now I have 3 pages. I have my cultural features page. I have my physical features page. Now, again, we're going to remove the add files and the comments. We have to save it first. But then we go to More, Page Settings, and uncheck the bottom 2 and save it. So again, if I wanted to edit this page, I would click on the pencil and I could continue to edit. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the simple things about it. I suggest ahead of time, if you're doing this with students or even for yourself, plan your actions out. Have your pictures gathered. Know what you want to put in your website. so that you're not thinking about what your pages are going to be called and the order, you want the order to be the way you want it. So if you create them in the right order, you don't have to learn how to edit the order, which we're not going to actually get into right now. So then we want to talk about how you get back to your site. So I am actually going to close this because I like to demonstrate it. And we're back here seeing this, and I'm going to say, okay, it's tomorrow. You want to go back to your website. So you would open up Google, and you would go to Brevard Schools by typing in www.brevardschools.org. And one other thing that I didn't mention, right now I'm logged in to Brevard Schools on my computer. So when I click on the teachers and then I go to Google Apps for Education, when I click on the login to my share domain, it logs me right in because I'm already logged in on my machine. If you're at home and you're doing this, it's going to pop up a little box where you're going to put in your last name, first name, and your password, the one that you use to get into your computer every day. If it's your students using it, they would put in their student ID number and their password that they use to log in. But since I'm already logged into the machine, it doesn't require that. So I'm going to log back into the share domain. And I am going to click on Sites again up here in the black bar. And then in my list of sites, I would see the one that I just created. Now, you won't see this many. What did I name it? Florida Geography 3. There it is. So if I click on that, here I am. So I could go, I'm on my home page. I could go to my physical features page. I could click the pencil and I can start to edit. So again, remember to save your site. I think that's it on there. Oh, once you're on your site, at your home page, here I am at my home page. Up here at the top, this web address, this is what you could copy and paste in an email and send to somebody and say, check out my site, or make a link from somewhere else, or if you wanted it to be linked off of your school website, that would be the URL or the web address of your site. And we made this one open to the world, so anyone with this can click on it and they can view this site. So it's pretty simple. I am going to close Chrome right now, and I am going to stop sharing my screen because I want to get back to stop sharing. I want to get back to my little PowerPoint and bring up something on the screen here. Let's see, content list, there it is. And hopefully you will be seeing this here in a minute. There we go. Okay, so this is our integrators or tech integrators website. And if you click on this, or if you, obviously you can't, I don't think you'll be able to click on it in the movie, but if you go to http://techtraining.brevardschools.org, you'll see a link that up at the top that says Google Apps for Education. That's what you, or the Google Apps link, I believe it's just called. Click on that and you will find all kinds of help, little short videos. That's actually where this video is, as well as on our training page. But you'll have lots of different handouts you could print out, or things for some more complicated things that you can do with sites. Again, this was very quick. It was just the bare basics, something you might want to use with your students if you wanted them to create sites. All kinds of things you could do, whatever you're studying in class. You could have them create a little storyboard and then create a website for that topic. We've done it with all sorts of things in elementary and in high school. So hopefully you learned a little bit. You have some resources to go back to. Now you have that handout, and if for some reason you're watching this video and you didn't have the handout, if you go to our training page where there's a link to this little video, there will be a link to the handout, because that is what I just followed step by step. And if you follow it, you could do what we just did now if you've forgotten some of the steps. So hope you've enjoyed yourself, and look forward to seeing you next time we do a little video. Bye now.